Cool. Yeah, so let's talk about New Bedford Half Marathon and how to approach it. So yeah, this is my Strava file from 2018, and I believe the course is still the same as this. I guess it's worth confirming that, but I don't think they've changed it. Just check really quick. All right, yeah, so it's going to start at 11 a.m. And
What
there's
I've
actually
seen, the course looks very similar to
looks the
the
same.
2018 map you showed.
Yeah, I ran it last year and there was no changes. So
Okay.
um, and there's a great video here actually if you want to watch that and see what the course looks like in advance. All right, yeah, this is the same course that's been for a while. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically the course
It's back on
is
that map I just had a question about something. If on
yeah,
the left, 1,000 feet calibration, is that the is that the elevation gain or no?
I think that's this is a USATF certified course, so it was measured by a wheel. Someone actually probably riding like a bicycle measuring it,
Okay.
and what that means, I think, is more like the course is accurate within 1,000 feet of the measurement.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
like all these courses are for record eligibility and stuff, like they're measured and they're within a certain tolerance. I'm
Sure.
not exactly sure what that means, but I think it means like it's within the specification to be certified as a half. When you run races like road races, two different courses, they're not the exact same length. They're going to be a little bit different. But this, I think that is just saying that it's like within the tolerance of what's acceptable, I think.
All right. Cool. Thanks for explaining.
Oh, yeah. In terms of elevation for this course, it is, I don't even know if that's accurate. My GPS measured 932 feet of elevation, which is 932 divided by 13.1, 71 feet. That seems a little high to me. I don't think the course is that hilly. No, it's definitely not that hilly. GPSs aren't very accurate when they measure elevation. This is a course that you're going to want to plan around, but it's not super hilly. I'm not sure if they say anywhere on the website, but how hilly it is. But yeah, let's just talk about the elevation profile. So, yeah, so the start of the race is actually downhill. So you're going to want to be pretty conservative at the beginning of the race. This is a really fast race with a really strong field. You're going to have a ton of other runners around you who are going your pace or going faster. Like you're definitely not going to be alone at all during this race. So a lot of people are going to start really fast. And the men who win this race are probably going to run like under 70 minutes, like maybe like 67 or something like that. Like it's really fast. So a lot of people are going to start super fast. You just need to really know what pace you're going to run from the beginning and not exceed that. So I think you can see here some of my slowest miles in this race were the first four. I ran a 6:36, 6:45, 6:40, and then I started to pick it up because I realized I felt good. And I think you need to do that too. Like be really conservative in the first mile because it is downhill. And then you can see that from basically from mile 1 to mile 4 is a climb. And this is a pretty big climb, and it's one that can take a lot of energy out of you if you try to fight for every second to get up it. So I think you really want to be conservative through these first 4 miles. When I raced this course last year, I actually had forgotten about this hill, and I was not conservative in the first 4 miles, and I paid the price later on in the race. So I think that you should, yeah, use the knowledge of knowing that the first 4 miles are first miles downhill and then 3 uphill. Use that to your advantage and be conservative.
So Chris, I have
Yeah.
a question, because your first four, you were a little slower than your average time. Do you think you should have gone even slower than that?
No, I think this was good because my average time was 6:25, but you can see I was way below that for the first 4 miles, or way slower than that.
Right.
So
Okay.
so if we're looking at your speeds, your Super Sunday 5K equated out to like a 1:23 half,
Mhm.
and on January 1st you ran 1:26. So you have like a 3-minute window of PRing here potentially, and you can potentially even break 1:23, but you're definitely in like there's a really great chance you're going to PR this weekend, which is exciting.
That
So I think if you think of like 6:20 as kind of your max speed, let's look at what you did in January. Your average speed was 6:36. So if you start this race like 6:36 or 6:40, I think you can feel really confident that you'll be able to pick up the pace closer to 6:20 after that mile 4 point.
Okay.
So I would start off, yeah, no faster than your PR pace of 6:36 per
See,
mile.
I guess like the slowest I can be, you think? I mean,
Yeah, 6:40, 6:36, something like that. Yeah. I wouldn't be much slower than 6:40.
yeah, it's not a marathon, so there's not as, you got to start fast to finish fast, I guess.
Yeah. But you can definitely finish fast. Like you can see some of my fastest miles are towards the end. So the way this course works though is once you get to the top of this hill at about mile 4, it's actually a very gradual descent until mile 12. And I think my GPS mismeasured here. You see a bunch of random hills in here. Those aren't actually there.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually going to pull up another athlete who I think we have a better track from.
Yeah. That's why I was confused, because your thing said 900 feet elevation, and I'm looking at the chart, and it's a bunch of peaks and valleys, and I was like, oh man. But the video, I watched a little bit of that, the video they took of the marathon, and it didn't seem that hilly.
Yeah, it's not. I'm gonna pull up John from the team. He raced this last year, and I think his GPS recorded the elevation a little bit better. Let's try to find it. March. Oh yeah, here it is. So he actually ran 1:23. So this is maybe what you're looking to run. So he averaged 9:6:19.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you look at his GPS profile, it's much smoother. So he followed a similar pacing strategy where he started pretty conservative, and then he finished with some of his fastest miles towards the end. And you can see like the first 4 miles kind of build up to the top of this hill, but then it's like a pretty long and gradual descent from mile 4 all the way to mile 12.
Oh yeah, there's really no incline.
Yeah. And this feels fast because it's for the most part that kind of 1% downhill that like it doesn't even really seem like you're going downhill, but you feel it.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're a little conservative in these first 4 miles, once you get up to here, you're going to feel really good on this downhill, and I think you can really pick up the pace after mile 4.
Yeah, just got to get to the first 4.
Yeah, once you get to like about mile 7, if you can see this on the map,
I can, yeah.
here, you kind of get to you run along the beach, so you run along the ocean, and this is pretty flat from like mile 7 to mile 11, mile 12.
Yeah.
Let's check the weather for this weekend. Because when I ran this the first year, it was really windy there. But the second year I ran it, it was totally fine. So New Bedford weather. Cool. So what day is the race? Is it Saturday, right? Sunday? Yeah, the 19th. Okay. Sunday. 11 a.m. start. So yeah, it's going to be 35 degrees, mostly sunny, maybe a high of 39. That's perfect. Partly cloudy is good. Mostly sunny, partly cloudy. Okay, that's pretty good.
Little gusts, little wind.
Maybe a little windy. Hard to say.
It's like this thing I'm looking at says it's not for New Bedford, but 27-mile-an-hour gusts.
Okay.
Could
So
be a little.
it could be a little windy in this section from mile 7 to mile 11.
Yeah.
You know, it's right on the water, but you know, if it is, this is such a crowded, but it's not a crowded race, but it's a big race. There's going to be people with you the entire time. So, you know, just try to run in a pack and try to like draft behind other runners if you can, let them break the wind a little bit. And if you're with a group, maybe take turns, you know, so you break the wind a bit, they break the wind a little bit, but you don't just want to be in no man's land getting like battered by wind if it happens to be windy there in that stretch.
The last half I did, some guy did that. He used me to break the wind. He was like all up behind me, and for a while too, probably like 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine to do. It's a race. It's helpful if you can take turns, if you're with other people and work together,
Yeah.
but it's helpful. And I remember the first year that I ran New Bedford, that's exactly what I did because it was very windy in this section. But I don't know, the weather doesn't look too bad right now. It looks pretty good, so I think it'll be fine. But if it is, that's always a strategy you can use.
Would you say running into a wind? I mean, you kind of use almost the hill strategy in terms of maintaining same energy levels and just, you know, allow the pace to slow a bit.
Yeah, you gotta maintain effort and just, yeah, the pace is gonna slow a bit in the wind, but hopefully you make it up when you turn around the corner and get a tailwind. Another hill kind of worth knowing about is around mile 12. There is a hill, 12 to basically 13 just before the finish. This is a pretty big hill actually, but you can see my mile 13 was actually one of my fastest miles. I ran a 6:11 up this hill. You know, at this stage in the final mile of any half marathon, like you're gonna be going hard. You know, at this point, you need to commit to finishing fast. If you're gonna finish fast, and it's gonna hurt regardless, whether it's flat or if it's uphill. So honestly, you don't need to plan around this hill at all. Like it's gonna be hurting at this point anyway. So just dig in and, you know, give it your all. It's not a super bad hill, but you know, it's prominent, as you can tell. And it is fairly long. So just know that it's coming, I guess, but you don't need to like plan around it in my mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, just break this race into 3 parts. 0 to 4, be conservative. Once you get to the top of this hill, you'll know it once you're up there. It's going to start to be a gradual downhill. So once you get to the top of that, you can kind of settle into your pace and then really just cruise and quick through each mile from 4, honestly, all the way to 10. And then once you get to 10, you know, you got 3 miles to go. Hopefully you've set yourself up to really close hard and finish fast. So, you know, at that point, the racing really begins and you dig in and
awesome.
close hard. Yeah.
Love it.
Cool. Any other questions about like the course specifically or how to approach it?
I guess, what is it? The water stops, rest stops, like every couple miles, every 2?
Yeah, there's plenty. And yeah, you don't even need to worry about them. There's going to be plenty of them.
Yeah, I don't
and
up a ton on a half, but you know, maybe once or twice if need be.
Yeah. I think a lot of times it'll depend on how warm you feel versus not.
It's about to quench thirst, really.
Yeah, you're going to be running fast enough where you could probably get away with not drinking so much. I think it's good advice to drink several times throughout a half, certainly. You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to grab a cup at every aid station, even if you just got a tiny sip of water, but
maybe every other.
Yeah. And then do you feel good with gels and how to, you know,
I just do one.
Okay. Yeah. About halfway.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's good. I've done 2 different approaches personally, and I've seen people do both. You know, you either do one halfway about mile 7, or you do 2, like one at maybe like 4 one at like 8 or 10, something like that, 4 or 5, and then one at like, 8
Yeah,
to 10.
I kind of like that too. I mean, just a little boost for the end.
Yeah, I don't know if personally I've noticed much of a difference either way. I think my last half marathon I only took one, but either way you'll be fine. I mean, the half marathon you're only running for 80 minutes, so you don't need to worry about it too much. Just make sure you do something.
For sure, definitely. Yeah, breakfast before, a few hours before, maybe something small like an hour before, and then the one goo.
Yeah,
halfway
yeah.
mark.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks for letting me do that. I think it was probably helpful
no,
for other people to hear
Yeah.
me describe the course. All right, let me pause this. Figure out how.
One thing I realized what kind of hurt me